Via TV, True FM.
Via TV, True FM.
On Via TV,
YouTube, True FM 96.1.
What's the meaning of the black barrier?
The black barrier is to tell Joseph Bakala, if you don't organize yourself in a grateful manner, we'll take your plate.
You might say what you want to say, but for us, we are here to make sure we build our country, that we are respected. We have donors that are coming because of the confidence.
Some news summary of 12. My name is Hansen Der Represent.
Welcome to News and Analysis 30 minutes of news presentation.
Well, from the news center here at the Renaissance Communications Incorporated, welcome to News Dex, 45 minutes of news from Liberia and other parts of the world. Today is Tuesday, November 19, 2024. My name is Marka Davis, presenting in the headlines. Majority bloc suspends 3 members for 30 section days without pay, including the chair on rules and other. Marvin Coe, as embattled House Speaker Fonati Kofa, refiled his petition for a writ of mandamus before the Supreme Court. Finance Minister Augustine Gaffwa discloses increment in the salaries of civil servants in the draft 2025 fiscal budget. As means of addressing the impact of recent devastating floods in Liberia, the African Union delegation to Liberia presents US $200,000 to the government of Liberia. And at the home front, Kenya's Catholic Church rejects a donation of about 40,000 United States dollars made by President William Ruto, according to the BBC. The details of these developments, including the bulletin of news, sports, voices of the newsmakers, are all packaged in this edition of News Dex. We're taking a short break to be back.
Via TV, True FM.
Via TV, True FM.
On Via TV,
YouTube, True FM 96.1.
Well, thanks for rejoining us. Let's now join Naketa Roberts for the bulletin of news. Good evening.
Good evening, Marka, and good evening, everyone. The majority bloc of the House of Representatives has instituted a drastic action by suspending 3 members of the House. Representative Melvin Cole, Edward Flomo, and Abu Kamara were suspended for 30 session days, a decision endorsed by plenary on Tuesday. The lawmakers were accused by members of the majority bloc for breaching the House rules by allegedly obstructing other lawmakers from attending sessions and physically attacking their colleagues. It can be recalled 6 members of the House were placed under investigation. However, the majority bloc voted to extend the investigation of 3 members, including Representatives Safoko, Alex and Zined Nomar, until Thursday. The motion for suspension outlined that the 3 lawmakers will be denied all privileges, including salaries and benefits, during the suspension period, including being banned from entering the Capitol building premises. At the same time, the majority bloc has restructured the Ways, Means and Finance Committee under the leadership of Deputy Speaker Thomas Fala. In a motion, members voted to remove Representative Desin Sibo as chairman and Representative Ellen Atto-Webb as co-chairperson due to their frequent absences. Meanwhile, Deputy Speaker Fala has begun appointing members to the new committee, naming Representative P. Mark Jure as chairman, Representative Doran Glicker as chairman of the subcommittee on revenue, and Representative Mark Thomas as chairman of the subcommittee on expenditure. In another move, the bloc endorsed a decision to remove the signatures of Sibo and Webb from all House accounts at various banks, as Deputy Speaker Fala directed the clerical staff to notify the Central Bank of Liberia and other commercial banks of the decision. Additionally, Representative James Collette of District 2, Bond County, has been appointed as acting chairman of the Committee on Rules, Order, and Administration. Deputy Speaker Thomas Falla announced that additional appointments will follow in the coming days. In another development, the majority bloc has received the draft national budget submitted on Monday by President Joseph Boakai. After reading the communication accompanying the draft budget, members voted to authorize the newly reconstructed Ways, Means and Finance Committee, along with the existing Public Accounts Committee, to collaborate with their Senate counterparts to review the budget and make recommendations to the plenary. Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustine Gaffron says no government employee will earn below $150 United States as monthly salary. According to Minister Gaffron, the government has allocated funds to ensure that beginning January 2025, no central government employee will be earning $150 United States gross salary minimum as provided for in the Decent Work Act of 2015. Minister Gaffron said the government has allocated nearly $3 million in the draft budget for fiscal year 2025 to ensure that beginning January 2025, nearly 2,000 teachers with C certificates, B certificates, associates, and bachelor's degrees who are currently being paid below their respective pay will receive salaries that will commensurate with their qualifications. The finance minister vowed that all government employees will be paid on or before the 24th of the month, saying the changes will take effect this November. At the same time, Minister Gaffron said the fiscal year 2025 draft budget has been allocated for the improvement in salaries for doctors, physicians, teachers, AFL soldiers, Executive Protection Service, police, among others. Meanwhile, Gaffron said the total revenue envelope of the draft national budget of fiscal year 2025 is projected at US $851.8 million, an increase of 15.3% over the fiscal year 2024 recast budget of $738.9 million. He spoke Tuesday at the Ministry Information Press Briefing. As means of addressing the impacts of recent devastating floods in Liberia, the African Union delegation to Liberia has presented US $200,000 to the government of Liberia. The AU's donation is a significant contribution towards addressing the plight of flood victims in the country. According to a Ministry of Foreign Affairs release, the AU made the presentation in Monrovia on Tuesday following a tour of returnees camps in Monserrado and Grand Cape County. The delegation-led person, Madam Anna Nebit, emphasized that the donation underscores the AU dedication to regional solidarity and humanitarian support. Madam Nebi further noted that the gesture is a testament of the African Union principles of collective support for people facing immense challenges due to the recent floods. Receiving the donation on behalf of the government of Liberia, acting Finance Foreign Minister Gabriel Sally lauded the AU for the gesture, noting that the funds will be utilized using that, thus ensuring that flood victims receive the necessary assistance to rebuild their lives. He meanwhile called on other regional and international partners to emulate the African Union example by extending support to Liberia. In Bartlehood, Speaker Fonati Kopa has finally refiled his petition for a rate of mandamus following ECOWAS delegation failure to settle the political impasse at the House of Representatives. Councillor Fonati Kopa had earlier filed the same petition to the court and in less than 24 hours withdrew his request, but with the right to refile. Speaker Kofa has won the presiding justice in chamber at the Supreme Court to compel his colleagues to return to the main chamber of the House of Representatives for session. He said his colleagues, calling themselves the majority bloc, have refused to attend legislative session and have created a constitutional procedural impasse due to the lack of quorums as required by the Liberian constitution for the conduct of official business. Councillor Kovra maintained that his colleagues' actions violate the 1986 constitution, the statutory laws of Liberia, and the standing rules of the House of Representatives. RCI judicial correspondent further revealed that the Mbatu House Speaker application comes at the time some of his supporters on Tuesday crossed over to the majority bloc, something critics see as a major blow to the Speaker's fight to stay on. About 76 attorneys at law are expected to write the Supreme Court's legal exams this Wednesday, November 20th, at the Temple of Justice. The court's legal exams will cover 8 different topics, including constitutional law, corporate law, criminal procedure, civic procedure, contract law, commercial law, and ethics. Ahead of Wednesday's exams, according to RCI judicial correspondent, the Supreme Court has granted 7 attorneys at law dispensation, thereby preventing them from setting the course first. The court's action was based on an application from the lawyers saying they are unable to set the court written test but will be available for the oral aspect of the test. The lawyers are Anthony Rosetta Jackson, Anthony Nelson Freeman, Anthony Peter Myean, Anthony Thomas Bombo, Anthony Joseph Pali, Anthony Alex Johnson, and Anthony John Sakor. Our judicial correspondent said court's legal exam will run from the 20th to the 23rd of November at the Temple of Justice. The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission has disclosed it will be carrying out a massive assets verification process on 175 public officials who have declared their assets. The LCC says the asset verification process is expected to run from November 25th, 2024 to January 31st, 2025. According to the Commission, to ensure a successful and accurate verification exercise, the LACC will partner with the Liberia Revenue Authority, the Liberia Business Registry, the Ministry of Transport, the Liberia Land Authority, the Center for National Documents and Records Agency, and the Financial Intelligence Agency. Addressing the media and partnering institutions on Tuesday in Monrovia, the Executive Program Manager in the Office of the Executive Chairperson, Vivian Akoto, noted that a verification of assets declaration by government officials is a vital measure to promote integrity and transparency in public service. Madam Akoto highlighted that verifying public officials' assets is essential to promoting accountability, deterring corruption, strengthening public trust, and aligning with international standards. She cited that LCC derives its authorities to verify asset declaration under the new LCC Act of 2022, Section 10.1, which mandates the Commission to investigate, audit, and verify public official assets. Meanwhile, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission is urging all public officials to fully cooperate during the process, as it is a critical component of fostering transparency and accountability in Liberia. The Liberian Senate has passed into law a bill seeking to create an independent seaport and inland ports regulatory authority. The bill, when endorsed by the House of Representatives, will provide for the regulation and sustainable development of seaports and inland ports operations and services in Liberia. It will also facilitate a safer, orderly, and transparent development of port facilities and services for any other purposes. The Senate took the decision on Tuesday following a recommendation by a joint committee on public cooperation and judiciary, human rights, claims, and petitions. At the same time, the Senate has also passed into law a bill for Liberia seaports, decentralization and modernization. According to a Senate press release, the bill is consistent with the decentralization strategy of government, which includes and not limited to the decentralization of the management and operation of the 4 seaports, which have been managed by a single body, the National Port Authority. According to the bill, the National Port Authority, from its creation, has managed the seaports, including the Free Port of Monrovia, the Port of Buchanan, the Port of Greenville, and the Port of Harper. The release says the focus and attention on the National Port Authority has been mainly on the largest port, the Free Port of Monrovia, so the neglect of the other ports. The decentralization of the seaports is intended to salvage the situation of centralization and its neglective impact on the seaports, to make each seaport autonomous to operate and manage itself, make its own investment decision, grow its revenue, and make significant contribution in the national and local economies. The Shada University of India has lauded Liberian students for their higher performances at the university. Shada University and the University of Liberia signed a memorandum of understanding last year for students exchange, something which has afforded over 150 students from the University of Liberia the opportunity to pursue higher education in India. Making the disclosure on Monday, the Dean of the Amos C. Sawyer College of Social Sciences and Humanities, Dr. Christopher Gray, who is a visiting professor at the Shada University, noted that since his arrival in India, the administration has showered praises on Liberian students for their outstanding performances. According to Dr. Gray, the university has been recommended for one of the outstanding students, Conan Bala, to pursue a doctoral degree at Shada University upon completion of his master program next year. Dr. Gray is meanwhile appealing to the authority of the University of Liberia and humanitarians to financially assist student Martin Harris to secure plane ticket as means of continuing his education in India. 22-year-old Martin Harris recently dosed the 104th graduating class of the University of Liberia, something which secured him a scholarship to pursue a master's degree at the Shada University. According to Dr. Gray, since student Martin Harris was offered the scholarship, he is yet to get his plane ticket money, despite making several calls for help. The Liberia Foundation of Creativity Program has been launched in the country. LFSA program was launched by the United States Agency for International Development and the Liberia government, represented by the Ministry of Education, and is a 5-year program worth 75 million United States dollars. The initiative is intended to strengthen foundational literacy skills for students from grade 1 to 6, helping to secure Liberia's future through education. The initiative is expected to be headed by Communix International and local international partners serving as the implementing arm. Some implementing partners, including Educators Empowerment Project, Kids Educational that's Engagement Project KEEP, We Care Forum for African Women Educationalists, the Liberia Foundation for Research, among others. Speaking during the ceremony, U.S. Ambassador to Liberia Mark Turner says he hopes to see greater prioritization of resources allocated to education in Liberia. Ambassador Turner said investing in education sector is the surest way to ending poverty, pledging U.S. government commitment to supporting Liberia educational drive. And away from Liberia, Kenya's Catholic Church has rejected a donation of about 40,000 United States dollars by the President William Ruto. He offered the money toward the building of a priest house and as a gift to the choir during Mass on Sunday at the Soweto Catholic Church in the capital, Nairobi. The donation followed a recent statement by Catholic Bishop who had hit out at the government for failing to fulfill their electoral promises. Churches have been under pressure this year from youth anti-tax protesters who have accused them of being too close to politicians. Following Ruto much publicized donation on Sunday, many Kenyans urged the Catholic Church to reject the money. The president had given around 2.6 Kenyan shillings in cash, pledged the rest of the money later, and also promised to give the parish a bus. That's our CN's bulletin. Is back to you, Marka.
Ria TV, True FM.
Say Ria TV, True FM.
On Ria TV.
Into Truth FM 96.1.
What's the meaning of the black barrier?
The black barrier is to tell Joseph Bakala, if you don't organize yourself in a grateful manner, we'll take your later.
You might say what you want to say, but for us, we are here to make sure we build our country, that we are respected.
Thanks to Naketa Roberts. If you're just joining us, you are listening to 45 minutes of news from Liberia and other parts of the world. In one of the top stories we are following tonight, Majority Bloc suspends 3 members of the House of Representatives for 30 section days without pay, including the chair on rules and other. Marvin Cole, as embattled House Speaker Funate Kova, refiles his petition for a writ of mandamus before the Supreme Court. Today's first Development, Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustine Gafwa says no government employee will earn below 150 United States dollars as monthly salary. According to Minister Gafwa, the government has allocated funds to ensure that beginning January 2025, no central government employee earning monthly gross salaries below US 150 minimum as provided for in the Decent Work Act of 2015. Minister Gafwa said the government has allocated nearly $3 million United States dollars in the draft budget for fiscal year 2025 to ensure that beginning January 2025, nearly 2,000 teachers with C certificates, B certificates, associate and bachelor's degrees who are currently being paid below their respective pay grade will receive salaries that will commensurate with their qualifications. Minister Gafwa spoke Tuesday at the Ministry of Information's regular press briefing.
The funds to ensure that beginning January 2025, no central government employee earning monthly salaries below the US $150 minimum as provided for in the Decent Work Act of 2015, no government employee in such category will receive less than $150 as monthly gross salary. We have allocated nearly $3 million United States dollars in the draft budget for 2025 to ensure that beginning January 2025, nearly 2,000 teachers with C certificates, B certificates, associate and bachelor's degrees who are currently being paid below their respective pay grades will receive salaries commensurate with their qualifications. We have allocated funds in the draft FY 2025 budget to have at least $225 beginning January 2025 to the salaries of specialist doctors in the health sector who are being paid below their pay grade as the first action in the direction of fully regularizing their pay. Year one action is to adjust the salaries of additional number of employees. This measure will ensure, when approved, will result in a monthly salary increase of between $25 and $50 for various categories of employees. Nurses, midwives, and physician assistants will receive $50 United States dollar salary top up per month, while other health workers will receive between $25 to $40 based on their level. Other government employees in the agriculture and security sector, including AFS soldiers, EPS, and police officers, agriculture extension workers, will also benefit from monthly salary top-ups, ranging from between $30 to $40 per month. In sum, about 28,200 government employees represent 45% of the government workforce are set to benefit from various forms of salary top-ups in fiscal year 2025. This proposal from the President of the 2025 Income Support Strategy entails implementing the provision of the National Security Act 2015.
He is Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustine Ngafwa there speaking today when he provided details on the draft budget submitted to the legislature. He spoke at the Ministry of Information during the ministry's regular press briefing today. In a related development, the plenary of the Liberian Senate has disclosed receipt of the draft national budget for fiscal year 2025 in the tune of about US $851.8 million. The president's communication read in plenary by the Senate Secretary also stated that in the draft budget, domestic revenue constitutes about US $791.76 million of the total envelope. The Secretary of the Senate, Nabola Sembe, said the budget also includes tax revenue of US $633.37 million, tax revenue of US $138.5 million, and contingent revenue in the tune of US $18.8 million. Here is the Senate Secretary, Nabola Sembe, reading the President's communication accompanying the draft budget.
The proposed national budget for the period beginning January 1, 2025 and ending December 31st, 2025. This submission is in tolerance of our previous communication to your honorable body and pursuant of Section 32.1 of the amended and restated Public Financial Management Act 2001 resource envelope. The total revenue envelope is projected at US $851.76 million, of which domestic revenue constitutes US $791.76 million, or 93% of the total envelope. This includes tax revenue of US $633.37 million, or 80% of domestic revenue. Non-tax revenue of US $138.5 million, or 17.4%, and contingent revenue of US $18.8 million, or 2.3%. The contingent revenue forecast has been tied to corresponding expenditures, which will be disbursed later during the year when appropriate contingent revenue items are raised. External resources amount to US $60 million, or 7.0% of the total revenue envelope, to be sourced from the World Bank, US $40 million, and the European Union, US $20 million. This represents a 50% increase in external resources from the fiscal year 2024. The increase in the resource envelope is on account of the steady performance of domestic revenue, especially taxes on income and profits, goods and services, and international trade.
He is the Secretary of the Liberian Senate, Nabola Sembe, there speaking at the House of Representatives in the midst of several major decisions today. The Deputy Speaker has, through a unanimous vote by a representative in section, instructed its acting chair on rules and other representative James Colette to confiscate the car keys of all vehicles that were presented to workers and directors of the House of Representatives by Speaker Fonati Kofa. This action was taken because it was noted that such decisions were not made in plenary and the full assembly was not aware of them. The Deputy Speaker confirmed that the leadership had indeed agreed to dignify their employees by purchasing 7 vehicles with the contract awarded to Siga Motor. The total amount of US $355,000 was authorized for this purchase, and the chairs on rules and other, as well as ways, means, and finance, were instructed to send a check to the company for these vehicles. Deputy Speaker Fala said. However, he said they were later informed by Siga Motor that the 2 coastal buses were not in the country and requested an extension until October for their arrivals. Deputy Speaker Fala mentioned that they were subsequently informed that 4 SUVs and 1 coastal bus were available in Monrovia, while the additional bus would arrive in November. However, the Speaker presented only 3 SUVs and 1 bus instead of the 4 SUVs that were expected. In accordance with the House's procedures, acting chair James Colette has been instructed to carry out this decision and confiscate the car keys for further investigation as it does not meet the consent of the leadership and members of the House of Representatives. Here is the Deputy Speaker, Thomas Fala.
And second among people, I remember vividly in one of our meetings, the leadership, we took a decision to take the power and start it. In that meeting, the leadership meeting, it was agreed, like you stated, and 7 vehicles in total. That quota was awarded to Sikamoto. The amount of 255,000 United States dollars was authorized from the House of Representatives to purchase, to female process to carry on Sikamoto one-year contract that will call the chairperson attend on rules and order for instructed to include the chairperson recently to send the check to Sikamoto. And which they were informed by Sikamoto due to this were not in contract with the ask of the state of October. And I've been informed by yes, those vehicles, especially the park SUV, were in the rodeo from the one bus, additional bus, to come at the end of November.
He is Deputy House Speaker Thomas Fala, who presides over the majority block section. There speaking when he instructed the acting chair on Rules, Order and Administration, Representative James Kohler, to confiscate the keys to vehicles recently presented to staffers, including directors of the House of Representatives, by embattled House Speaker Fonati Kofa. We've little past the half-hour mark. It is a reminder you are listening to News Dex 45 minutes of news from Liberia and other parts of the world. The top stories we are following tonight: Majority Bloc suspends 3 members of the House for 30 section days without pay, including the chair on Rules and other. Marvin Cole, as the battled House Speaker Fonati Kofa, refiles his petition for a writ of mandamus before the Supreme Court. Finance Minister Augustine Gapwa discloses increment in salaries of civil servants in the draft 2025 fiscal budget. As means of addressing the impact of recent devastating floods in Liberia, the African Union delegation to Liberia presents US $200,000 to the government of Liberia. And of the home front, Kenya's Catholic Church rejects a donation of about 40,000 United States dollars made by President William Ruto. The BBC is reporting. Sorry, we cannot bring you sports tonight on News Dex, but let's bring you more stories tonight. The Liberia Foundational Skills Activity Program has been launched in the country. LFSA program was launched by the United States Agency for International Development and the Liberian government, represented by the Ministry of Education, and is a 5-year program worth 75 million United States dollars. The initiative is intended to strengthen foundational literacy skills for students from grade 1 to 6, helping to secure Liberia's future through education. U.S. Ambassador to Liberia, Mark Turner, has been explaining more about the program during the launch in Monrovia on Tuesday.
$75 million initiative designed to improve student literacy grades 1 through 6, focusing on 6 priority counties: Bong, Grambassa, Bakili, Nimba, and Montserrat. This program will directly benefit over 120,000 students. That's an enormous number. Nearly 1,000 schools by equipping them with the skills they need to read, write, and frankly succeed in life. Foundational skills takes a comprehensive approach to improve literacy in several key ways that I'd like to highlight. First, teachers are receiving the training they need to enhance their skills and deliver high-quality education. Second, textbooks and learning materials are being printed and distributed so that every student has access to essential resources. Third, teaching reforms are being supported to strengthen this overall system and ensure literacy remains a national priority.
For part, Education Minister Jaso Jala described the initiative as a milestone achievement for the education system of Liberia. Dr. Jala disclosed that the LFSA is focusing on finalizing foundational literacy skills for primary students in 6 counties, including Montserrado, Bong, Margibi, Grand Bassa, Nimba, and Lopa counties.
Fundamental step forward in our nation's commitment to transforming education and providing every Liberian child with the opportunity to succeed. Supported by the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, LFSA will focus on enhancing foundational literacy skills for primary school students across 6 counties. You've heard it: Montserrado, Bong, Margibi, Grand Bassa, Nimba, and Lofa. This initiative stands as the largest educational technical assistance program funded by USAID. And it's designed to give children the essential literacy skills they need, not only for academic success, but also for lifelong learning. It is an exciting moment for our country as we work together toward a brighter future, more equitable future, and a more equitable future for all. At its core, LFSA is not just about improving educational outcomes. It's about addressing some of the most pressing challenges in Liberia's education system, from improving enrollment rates and ensuring age-appropriate placement to the availability of relevant teaching materials. The program is built to tackle systemic obstacles that have hindered the potential of many young learners. Through this comprehensive initiative spearheaded by Chemonics International, in collaboration with Diversified Educators Empowerment, Mathematica, and One World Network of Schools, we are setting the stage for a new era of learning where every child can access the resources, support, and opportunities they need to succeed.
Chief Education Minister Dr. Jaso Jala speaking earlier on. You listened to U.S. Ambassador to Liberia Mark Turner. They spoke at the launch of the Liberia Foundational Skills Activity Program worth 75 million United States dollars. The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission has disclosed it will be carrying out a massive asset verification process on 175 public officials who have declared their assets. The LACC says the asset verification process is expected to run from November 25, 2024 to January 31, 2025. According to the Commission, to ensure a successful and accurate verification exercise, the LACC will partner with the Liberia Revenue Authority, the Liberia Business Registry, the Ministry of Transport, Liberia Land Authority, the Center for National Documents and Records Agency, and the Financial Intelligence Agency. Addressing the media and partnering institutions on Tuesday in Monrovia, the Executive Program Manager in the Office of the Executive Chairman, Vivian Akoto, noted that verification of asset declarations by government officials is a vital measure to promote integrity and transparency in public service.
Verification of asset declarations by government officials is a vital measure to promote integrity and transparency in public service. This process is essential for several reasons. Number one, promoting accountability. To verify assets declared by public officials, the LACC ensures compliance with legal obligations and fosters a culture of accountability. Number two, deterring corruption. This process helps identify discrepancies that could indicate corruption, abuse of office, or illicit enrichment. Three, strengthening public trust. Demonstrating that leaders are held of high ethical standards enhances citizen confidence in government institutions. And lastly, aligning with international standards. The process supports Liberia's commitment to international anti-corruption frameworks, including the United Nations Convention Against Corruption.
She is the Executive Program Manager in the Office of Executive Chairperson of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, Vivian Akoto, there speaking today in Monrovia when the Commission disclosed it will be carrying out a massive asset verification process across government. The Shada University of India has lauded Liberian students for their high performances at the university. Shada University and the University of Liberia signed a memorandum of understanding last year for students' exchange, something which has afforded over 150 students from the University of Liberia the opportunity to pursue higher education in India. Making the disclosure Monday, the Dean of the MLC Sawyer College of Social Sciences and Humanities, Dr. Josephus Gray, who is a visiting professor at the Shaddai University, noted that since his arrival in India, the administration has showered praises on Liberian students for their outstanding performances.
And the deans, the faculty, they keep praising Liberian students. Our students are performing very well, not just performance, but their deportment, their attitude. They praise our students. And it's been recommended that one of our students from the Department of Political Science, he was serving as a star before we sent him to India, Mr. Kunan Bala. The school had recommended that Mr. Kunan Bala should immediately upon his graduation in June next year, 2025, he should pursue a PhD in political science. The students are outstanding. They are doing well. And currently we have more than 150 Liberian students in Shaddai University. More than 150 Liberian students. I've been interacting with them. So the system here is quite different. I hope we can copy that, especially when you want to be a professor, you want promotion, you don't want to publish. I'm so honored. The praises I'm receiving because of Liberian student performance. They are in competition with the Indian colleagues, competition with other students from around the world.
Dr. Gray is meanwhile appealing to the authorities of the University of Liberia and humanitarians to financially assist student Martin Harris to secure plane ticket as means of continuing his education in India. 22-year-old Martin Harris recently dukes the 104th graduating class of the University of Liberia, something which secured him a scholarship to pursue a master's degree at the Shaddai University. According to Dr. Gray, since student Martin Harris was offered the scholarship, he is yet to get his plane ticket money, despite making several calls for help.
At the University of Liberia from the chemistry department, one Martin Harris. The boy got his dues. They gave 100% scholarship. Martin can be put for a ticket. Where will Martin be? No one wanted to help the boy. Oh, brilliant gentleman. Martin should be here in India here attending. Oh, who want to help Martin? I'm appealing to the university authority to help that labor. To help the boy, 22-year-old boy. 22-year-old boy. It will give the boy the opportunity to come here in 2 years time. By the time they make 10, 24, they may be by the University of Liberia with master degree. No one willing to help Martin Harris. I'm appealing to university authority to carry help the boy. The man need ticket and need accommodation fees so that he can be able to join the other Liberians here that are attending. We need to give them overseas exposure. They need to learn. It's quite different. The environment, the culture, the colleague that you're interacting with. If you have colleague in the classroom for 10, you're going to gain other experience. Especially when you're attending at Shaddai University, you're going to deal with students from 96 countries.
He is the Dean of the MLC Sawyer College of Social Sciences and Humanities, Dr. Josephus Gray, who is also a visiting professor at the Shaddai University in India, there speaking about the performance of Liberian students in India. Well, folks, this is all the time we've got to be with you tonight on News Dex. It's been 45 minutes of major news from Liberia and other parts of the world. As we take leave of you, these are the top stories we followed tonight. Majority bloc suspends 3 members for 30 section days without pay, including the chair on rules and other. Marvin Cole, as embattled House Speaker Fonati Kopa, refiles his petition for a writ of mandamus before the Supreme Court. Finance Minister Augustine Gafwa discloses increment in the salaries of civil servants in the draft 2025 fiscal budget. As means of addressing the impact of recent devastating floods in Liberia, the African Union delegation to the country presents US $200,000 to the government of Liberia. And of the home front, Kenya's Catholic Church rejects a donation of about $40,000 United States dollars made by President William Ruto, the BBC is reporting. Many thanks to all of you for your listening. Real thanks to those who follow us via Real TV on Facebook. Thanks to our reporters, correspondents, and all those who helped to make this edition of News Dex a success. Naketa Roberts read for us the bulletin of news. Johnson Matoma coordinated this presentation. Kopa Sara control and played the sounds. Thanks to our sponsors, Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited. Myean Torgbean has been behind the cameras. My name is Marka Davis. Good night.
Ria TV, True FM.
Ria TV, True FM.
On Ria TV,
True FM, 96.1.
What's the meaning of the black barrier?
The black barrier is to tell Joseph Bakala, if you don't organize yourself in a grateful manner, we'll take your plate.
You might say what you want to say, but for us, we are here to make sure we build our country, that we are respected. We have donors that are coming because of the confidence.
Some news summary at 12. My name is Hansen Derka present.
Welcome to News and Analysis 30 minutes of news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and our one world.
Presenting this newscast is proudly sponsored by Orange Liberia and EcoBank Liberia Limited.
How is life after the presidency?
But before the presidency, the same life, that's what you see. I live a different life. You know, when I was not president, this life, that's what I live, you know, with my family and
I have a lot of interest in the health sector, the educational sector, and the agriculture sector. Roads, connecting roads in this country.
We are calling international community to come to intervene for us because, like I just stated previously, we don't know who to trust.
Always make sure to turn on to our
Myean TV and listening to Truth FM 96.1.